Good evening and salutations, my Days of Alive fans. Okay, so Doug leaving Salem, right? And at first, he runs into Gabby, and of course, Gabby gives him an earful, rightfully so, about, putting her daughter in danger. It's not they're saying you could have said something, you could have did this, you chose to stay quiet and do nothing, right? And I'm not even going to sit there and repeat myself about just how stupid that was. But anyway, she gives him the tongue lashing. Next, he's walking past Gwen. See, Gwen got a subpoena from Julie. Julie came over and Julie was like, I'm suing you. Now, Gwen is pissed off. She doesn't seem that angry. She seems like she's more annoyed than anything else. And she pretty much tells Julie that, listen, you stole the necklace. You must have somehow did it. How? This woman's like 80-something years old. What do you think, she's good at safe cracking? Which, by the way, when the hell did Doug actually learn how to safe crack? But okay, whatever. They go back and forth for a little bit. Nothing winds up happening from it. Doug walks past Gwen. And, at first, she's like, what? And then she remembers that was the same person that came to her door when she didn't order anything, and he was just right there. So as, she turns around, he's already gone. She's calling 911. For, the stolen necklace. Doug goes to Julie's place and tells Julie that, he's leaving Salem and, he just wants to pretty much say goodbye. She acts cold and distant, like, that's not my problem. And then he gives her the necklace and everything just changes. And, here's the problem with this whole scene. Okay? Because, they have a nice little heartwarming goodbye. And she even says that she's going to pay off his debts. This way, the guys doesn't come after him and he doesn't get hurt. And, she just wants him to make better choices and this, that, and the third. All that wouldn't have wound up happening if he didn't give her her necklace. That was it. That was literally it. All that stuff went, and it just came across as like, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that it was a very sentimental value thing, and it wasn't even so much about the necklace. It was just about, the fact that she took him in, and he betrayed her, he betrayed her trust, and everything like that. And he took advantage of her. I get that part, but you were cold as F one minute. Then he gives you a necklace, and everything's like, everything's just magically better. So it really just rubbed me the wrong way, if I'm going to be honest. Now we'll go with Johnny and Chanel. Okay. So apparently, Chanel was talking to Susan. Susan came over to sit there and help with the case, and Johnny's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really believe in that or whatever. But then apparently she gets some sort of psychic impression and doesn't say anything and just runs out. And, Johnny's like, listen, I get that we're desperate, we're running out of time, but I thought you were going to get like a PI, not her and her gifts or whatever. And I'm just like, wait, hold on. Let me get this straight. The guy who was possessed by the devil, who knew about Marlena being possessed by the devil, but you don't believe in psychics, but you were possessed. This is my whole thing, like him and EJ. And my whole thing is like, if EJ first came to town or whatever, he'd be like, I don't know. But like, bro, you knew that your son was going through a whole bunch of stuff. And he wasn't acting like himself. So, but just more on Johnny. And it's not like he hasn't heard about her psychic abilities and stuff like that. So at some point, he must have heard about the fact that she got some stuff right. But more importantly, again, the possession. Okay. So I just it kind of tripped me out a little bit. Um, the scene between Gabby and Gwen was just exhausting and seemed almost unnecessary. I mean, they're sitting there arguing. Their beef. They were talking about Jake. Jake, you know the guy from like 3 or 4 years ago when I first started watching the show. Yeah, him. And they're sniping back and forth. Oh, I stole him from you. Oh, you couldn't satisfy him. I'm like, seriously? This is the reason why so far I'm not really impressed, or I'm not like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that Gwen's back. It's just like, shit just seems stupid. Like, it just seems really dumb. Anyway, they run into Susan, and it really doesn't go anywhere. The only thing I will sit there and take note of is at first, because Gabby isn't there, um, you know, taking DeSora for a walk. And, Gwen's like, oh, poor baby, you and your family of ghouls or whatever. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Listen, if you... And Gabby was like, listen, you can come at me. Don't come at my family. And to be honest, her family has never done anything to him. She don't even know Holly from a hole in the wall. And I don't think that she had any issues with rape. So I'm kind of just like, what? She did take it back and just limit it to her. But like, this is like the second time I felt like she was just a little out of pocket. Like, okay, cool. You're upset with Leo. I get that. But you coming at Javi sideways just seemed unnecessary. Brady and Sarah. Part of me was wondering, I was like, why was Sarah there? But then I remember she had to sit there and check out Marlena, and, find out why she was fainting and stuff. She said she was, she didn't eat anything and her blood pressure was like 90/140 or something. I'm no medical expert, but I believe that's like somewhat, if it stays like this, like hypertension or something. Anyway, after she leaves, Brady and Sarah talk. Nothing too particular, but they talk about Tate and the baby being a baby girl. Towards the end, she looks at Sophia's chart and realized that Sophia had a boy. So, like, none of that is not really making any sense. On top of the fact that she was talking about her painful breakup with Xander, saying that it was inevitable. It was going to eventually happen. And while that's 100% true, I do understand how hurt she is by a breakup, And also bringing up Mackenzie. She had a lot going on. And then it was Belle and Marlena, just making sure she's okay, making sure she's eating and stuff like that. And then Susan comes over and, I guess Marlena really didn't want to talk about John, and I get that. Belle's like, listen, if you do, I'm here. And then Susan comes over and Susan starts talking about John, and she just goes kind of on and on and on and on and on. But there's one point where she's hugging her and she touches her and she feels like something's kind of off. Like your energy, your vibe, there's something off, And she says something along the lines that you're ill, but like, I don't know. Anyway, Belle pretty much kind of gets her the hell up out of there. And, when Belle gets back, she's asleep. And the last book she was sitting there reading, something along the lines of Arabian Nights. So while she's dreaming, she's in this, like, I don't know how to sit there and try, like, Egypt time or whatever. Like, these two girls that are scantily dressed, escort her to some sort of bed. And as she's laying in a bed, granted, this is a really young Marlena. again, by the way, what's her name? Well, whatever the actress that plays Marlena, back in the day, that chick was a dime. Like, goddamn. But as she's laying on this couch or something, there's a man that's standing over her. I'm gonna assume it's Stefano. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I'm gonna assume. Anyway, I think that's pretty much about it. I was expecting, I guess, a better cliffhanger for the week, but for the weekend on a Friday, but maybe that dream is going to be a lot more to come. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. If I missed anything, write in the comment section below. I will be sent to talk about this and the other soap operas tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.